can Austin become America's next great soccer city? That and a lot more coming up next. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Final Whistle ATX. My name's Wyatt. I'm joined with Nick and Harley, and we're at BD Riley's like we always are. Cheers, guys, to another episode.
Cheers. Let's do it.
So Saturday, June 19th, a special day in Austin FC history. I didn't make it. I had some other things going on.
You got other plans.
Maybe we'll get into that
Like
later. But like a wedding. Madam Whistler was brought into the Whistler family. But you know, I really want to start off with what the energy was like in that stadium. You know, because I think Austin has the potential to be one of the next great soccer cities in this country.
I thought you were about to announce some baby whistlers on the way.
The name is Austin. That's our son's name. No, so what was it like? You were there. I wasn't there. Both of you were there. But Nick, what was it like to be there?
It was amazing. All it was missing was an Austin FC winning goal. The atmosphere was incredible. The chants, the songs, everyone was up for it. There was the HEB Plaza where everyone were hanging out from like 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon for hours, drinking, playing soccer. There's free samples out there. And then when they opened up the gates and people started going inside, the energy from the plaza outside just transmitted inwards. And so many people there, and everyone was loving it. I know it was just a shame that they didn't go on and win it. But it was an electric start.
I saw Matthew McConaughey made an appearance with his green suit and his drums. I saw a lot on Twitter fans who were wearing braces, who had ice on their legs because they were jumping so much throughout the whole game.
And if you were watching on TV, you probably saw me because the camera found me twice in the stand.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't bring my Final Whistle ATX shirt, though, so I kind of let you guys
big
down.
Big miss there.
Well, you have your
sorry.
Final Whistle ATX tattoo.
Yes, yeah, I got that out for everybody.
So what was it like sitting out there in the stands? Did you know the chants?
I picked up on them pretty fast, but honestly, most of the noise was coming from the supporters section, which is that massive wall of Verde, and I was on the complete other side of the stadium from there. And honestly, I think it was still pretty rowdy at my end. Over there, it was crazy. It was like a carnival, just absolutely insane. And I feel like I've seen some really good atmospheres in my time. I've been to Wembley Stadium in London. I've been to Madison Square Garden in New York. And I'm not going to say anything too crazy here, but Q2 Stadium is right up there. There was just absolutely, it went far beyond what I expected, and I think what we all expected. Honestly, it was just such an amazing atmosphere.
Yeah.
Like Nick said, we were just missing a goal.
Not even a winning goal. I think just a goal. I think maybe would have satisfied.
The stadium was about ready to explode, honestly.
You know, and it's funny you say that about being to all the other stadiums because Matt Mitchell, our producer behind the scenes, was telling me he was there also representing KXAN. I'm a company man, KXAN.com. But he was saying he's been to a lot of sporting events himself. And in fact, he was just at a Dallas Mavericks game in the playoffs against the Clippers. And he put this up against all of them. He didn't say it was the best, but he said this was something special that you kind of had to have been there and been a part of it and seen it because those people in the supporter section, my God.
And they never stopped.
Yeah, the whole time.
From beginning to end, before the game started to even after the final whistle, they just continued to bang the drum, to sing the songs. It was just so awesome.
And it was. I felt like it was a very inclusive, welcoming atmosphere. I was there with my wife, and she's a sports fan, but she's kind of mostly into soccer through me, really. And I'm always just talking 4-3-3 and all that kind of thing to her.
False nine, you know.
Exactly. But she had an amazing time. Like, both of our voices were completely hoarse when we left just from yelling and screaming, and it was so much fun. It really was.
So we usually do our big takeaways from the last game. There's been 2 games since we saw you last, so let's do our big takeaways from the last 2 games. I guess we can start with any direction you guys want to take it, but I guess let's start with the home opener. What was the biggest takeaway from that game?
I think, well, if you will let me just put the 2 games together, because I feel like this sums everything up quite neatly. I think even though the Austin FC didn't win that game at Q2 Stadium against San Jose, the 0-0 draw, I think that was the high point of Austin FC's existence so far. And then just 3 or 4 days later in Minnesota, 2-0 defeat is the low point, I think, of Austin FC so far. Was not a good game on the road in Minnesota. Injuries, problems, players out. It was very striking to me how we went from such a high, despite the result just being a draw in the end, to such a low, and now looking forward, it's not looking too promising on the field, I think.
That's actually a great point from the highest Austin FC's been to possibly the lowest. I mean, 2 goals really early on in that game. And even though we started to press a little bit towards the end, it never really felt like we had a great shot there. So what was your takeaway from the last 2 games?
Well, you almost worried that it would be a blowout after the first half an hour. I was talking to some other people less loyal than we are, and they stopped watching after 30 minutes because they were just like, they saw the direction that was going, unfortunately. Now, I watched the whole thing, and I'm glad that they kept it at 2 because they haven't had a massive blowout this year, which has been a promising thing of the games that we've seen so far. But this lacking creativity and quality near the opposing goal, and we haven't scored in several games now, and you're wondering where the goals are going to come from. Brad Stuver, again, had another great game, but that has been one thing that we've been able to say about every game. The rest has been inconsistent, unfortunately.
Yeah, and what you say about the goals is just, it's becoming an issue now, I think it's fair to say. We've got 1 goal in the last 6 games, and that's, I don't know about you, but I think that's been pretty striking.
Yeah, I think that, it's weird. We've been able to hold possession, and it kind of goes back to what you've said in the past, that it's kind of empty stats at that point. And, I think for me, the biggest takeaway was, wow, the injuries. You know what I mean? We're missing so many guys who we didn't even love, who hadn't proven themselves yet, like Danny Hosen. He's been out the last 4 games. And the funny thing is, I don't know if any of us even noticed, because that's kind of how unaware we've been when he's on the field sometimes. But I think Alex Ring leaving the game, I saw on
before kickoff it was, because he was on the original lineup, and then they had to scratch him.
Yeah, I think I read from the Striker, thestriker.com, they mentioned thestrikertexas.com. Thank you for that. and Chris Bills was saying it looked like men amongst boys. And I wanted to say that in this, but I didn't want to make it seem like I came up with it myself. But I think that's probably the most accurate representation of what we saw. We were so young, and Ring masks so much of our deficiencies that when he's not there, they're blinding. Yeah. And that was the biggest takeaway. And I hope, Cecilio came out in the 46th minute, and it was we basically conceded, and we decided we're going to hold him for the next game. So I'm really curious to see who's going to be able to play. Is Nick Lima going to come back? Is Ring going to come back? And who's going to fill those spots if they don't? We've already been missing Ben Sweat. So I don't know where we go from here, and I'm not going to, I think at this point, we're only 3 points away from the playoffs still. With everything we've just said, we're a game behind the playoffs in the West.
Yeah, and what you were saying about injuries, another guy that is looking like he's going to be out is Nick Lima, who's played in every game so far and been pretty steady at right back.
Right.
And typically, my rule when I'm watching soccer is that if a player goes down like they've been shot in the hamstring less than 10 minutes into a game, that usually means they're out for a little while. So a guy who's been an ever-present part of this team, I don't know if that's just the midweek game and the fixtures piling up and, the hamstring's tight and it blows out. But I don't know, maybe I'm not a doctor, but maybe that's 4 to 6 weeks out from a player who's been one of the first names on the team sheet.
Well, him and Beasler. Beasler didn't make it either. I mean, that's a big blow as well. He's been a veteran presence in our backline all season.
And one of the big takeaways from the home game was that everyone was trying to win it and not necessarily making the best decisions in the final third, because they all wanted to be the one to, raise the roof at Q2. And I don't blame them for that. The pressure was on. Everyone wanted to take the responsibility, and in the end, no one scored. It was really impressive to see them really wanting it. And it does bode well for future home games, of which we've got a lot coming up, that maybe the Q2 stadium influence, the crowd, are actually going to will us over the goal line once we get once the players get over the initial nerves of playing in front of a home crowd.
And Wyatt, I've got some good news for you. I know that you weren't able to watch the San Jose game because you had some other plans. But I was sitting right in the corner of the side that Austin FC was attacking in the first half. And your boy, John Gallagher, oh my goodness, he ran the San Jose right back ragged. That guy must have walked into half-time just like with his head all over the place because Gallagher was just going past him at will. That was crazy.
I heard it was one of his better games. And, that's the thing. As we talk about, we're missing this player, we're missing that player. We've got quality players in this team, and it really feels like we're one or two players away, it feels like. If we can just find the striker that we need, if we can just find a guy in the midfield who can create more chances for us in the attack, we're really close. We really actually are.
We'll take some luck, too. I think we need a little luck as well.
Well, as we know, the transfer window opens next month, and we heard from Adrian Healy on this show, King of the Whistlers. He said that Austin FC is going to make some moves in the attacking third. And
the biggest kept secret, it feels like.
Yeah, absolutely. But my worry is I don't want us just to be like waiting for that window to open and just struggling the next couple of games. And I fear that's what it might be because we just look blunt right now.
Well, we don't have the easiest system to just pick up. So even if we do get a guy who can be a difference maker, it's going to take some time for that player or those players, multiple, to kind of find their way into fitting in this system the right way. But, we've got a game coming up against Columbus, a very big game. Some would say our biggest rival at this point for some reasons I don't know if we want to get into on the show. But there's some real reasons Columbus fans don't like us, and there's some real reasons we probably don't like them. And they're also coming off an MLS championship last year. So with all the injuries we've talked about, and with the performances, the highest and then the lows, what's a realistic expectation coming into this game on Saturday at 7 on FS1?
I mean, Columbus is a really good team. I think they're really going to want to win this game, perhaps more so than most teams. I think they're going to have that fire in their belly. Add to the fact that the first game at Q2 Stadium was a 0-0 draw, and somebody's got to score the first goal at Q2 Stadium sometime. And if I'm a Columbus player right now, I'm thinking, I want that to be me. I want that to go down in history as the first goal scored at Q2 Stadium. Yeah, I think all those things combined make me a little nervous about this one.
That's a really good point. Nick, is a Columbus player the first to score a goal in Austin FC history at Q2?
Wouldn't that just be the worst?
Wouldn't that be poetic in a way? And it hurts me to say that, but it feels like it would be a little bit poetic.
My prediction is a 1-1 draw. I think Columbus get the first goal, but then I think we get the first Austin FC goal at Q2 right after. And it sort of numbs the pain a little bit after that. And it would be good. I think any type of scoring draw would be okay because we'd at least have a goal. And I think a draw against Columbus wouldn't be the worst. I think I would look at it like when we played Seattle, that wasn't a bad result after that. That I think we could look to trying doing something similar against Columbus and then hope for a win against some of the lesser teams.
I think a point would be a win to me. I mean, what do you think? Do you think can we expect possibly a goal in this game?
I would.
Are you willing to go out on the limb and give us
well, okay, put it this way.
Prediction?
Last week, I think I predicted a 4-1 win for Austin FC in the game that finished 0-0. So I don't think I'm even qualified to give a prediction anymore. But what do you think, Wyatt? I'll put you on the spot. You've been closest, I think, so far.
I think I'm going to go with a 2-1 victory for Austin FC.
Nice.
And I think we're only going to score one goal. So I think it's going to be an own goal by Columbus. I don't know why, but it just feels like Columbus is going to come in. They're going to score the first point in Q2 history, aside from the women's national team, and it's going to be devastating to us. But we're going to come back and tie it in the second half, and then they're going to make a mistake on their end that's going to give us the 2-1 win.
You're carving out a niche for oddly specific predictions.
Are you saying
if you're going to do it, you got to do it right?
The first goal at Q2 will be an own goal?
No, not the first goal.
Oh, okay.
The winning goal.
The first goal will be a Columbus Crew goal.
Okay.
But the last goal is going to be an own goal by Columbus. That's going to give us the win. Wow. That's my prediction. I won't give you a time. My mind's telling me maybe the 71st minute, but I don't know. I'm not going to give you an exact time.
I don't know. I think that's a little rough. I'm just going to put that out there.
I just can't see us scoring more than one goal. I don't feel right predicting that we're going to score 2 goals. Where's it going to come from? I just don't know.
I don't know either. But what I do know is that the reason why you had such a good excuse not to be watching the game last week is because you had the biggest day of your life. So congratulations, my friend.
Cheers. That's worth the cheers.
Yeah, absolutely. How did everything go, my friend?
Horrible. Absolutely horrible. No, it was no, it went great. It went great. Everything went exactly as planned. Everything was better than I thought it would be. Like, the thing that I was nervous about wasn't the actual getting married part. It was just, like, you guys have both done it, and so it's like everything's kind of planned to the T, so you're kind of thinking, like, okay, I hope this goes right. And then I hope when we cut the cake, this is right, and all these things. And so the wedding was at 4:30. So once 3:30 hit, and I had a glass of whiskey, everything else was just excitement. The nerves kind of went, and it was just like, I'm ready. Like this is what I'm.
Did anyone object?
No one objected. And you know what? One of my friends said that, but they didn't even ask. And now is the time for if anybody objects. That wasn't even asked.
It sounds like that's a good thing, probably.
I think he would have done it to be funny, and it would not have been very funny.
Yeah, I
and he
think
knows
so.
exactly who he is if he's
with
watching
so many,
this.
like parents and in-laws
Yeah,
there, you just don't want to
yeah.
make jokes at that point.
It was awesome, though. We had a mariachi, and Gabby didn't know. We completely surprised her. So that was, like, insanely cool. And
That's awesome.
everything was great. I'm not a dancer. I danced the night away. So some tequila will do that for you.
Well, while
But-
we were watching the game, we were all thinking of you and
Yeah.
knowing that you were having a
Yeah.
great time too.
We were having a great time as well, but you were never far from our minds, of course.
No, it was a blast. And, shout out to Whistler Nation. A Whistler is among us. You know what I mean? A new Whistler is among us. Madam Whistler. So, but yeah, no, it was a great Saturday all around, it sounds like. So
Congratulations,
hopefully next Sunday, I don't know exactly the date, but Sunday at 7 against Columbus Crew, Austin FC on FS1. Hopefully will be equally as awesome as last Saturday in terms of the
hopefully we're talking
atmosphere.
about a win for the first time in a
Hopefully
while.
we're talking about a goal scored at least. That
Oh
would
my
be nice.
gosh, I'd
Yeah.
take that.
So Nick, I'm going to toss it over to you for our social plugs.
Yeah, so make sure we're going to be able to stream our show on Facebook. We'll
That's
put
right.
it on YouTube and, of course, KXAN.com. We're still looking for any questions you might have about Austin FC, our opinions on things about Wyatt, things about his marriage.
Any
perhaps.
questions that you have about marriage? Yeah.
If you want to
we
play
will-
therapist, I'm all ears.
Use
You know.
hashtag Final Whistle ATX, but you can also post under the comment section on our Facebook video that
Yeah.
you can ask us any questions there, and then we'll look ahead to those for the next episode.
Or just find us in Austin and ask us a question. We welcome
That's-
that as well, right?
Exactly. And with that being said, cheers, guys. Cheers to a win, and we'll
Hopefully.
see you next weekend.
Yeah.
Hopefully we move up the standings a
Hopefully
little
cheers
bit.
to a win anyway.
Hopefully cheers to. I hope I didn't jinx us.
See you later.